when you're explaining something via a laptop in a presentation, sometimes you want to modify what the cursor looks like so it's easier for people to actually see it. So I'm going to show you a few different options for how you can do that in a Google Meet. My way is not the only way. There are other ways of doing it, and hopefully it'll help sort of make it easier for you participants to see what it is you're pointing at on the screen. Let's go. Alright, so the first thing you can do is come to your system preferences and do a search for cursor. And one of the options that comes up is cursor size, so click that. And you can change the size of your cursor like that. There you go, nice and big. And now let's have a look at when we're in a Google Meet. Now, this big cursor will only work if you share your entire screen. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to share this screen here. All right, so if I'm doing something, for example, in Google Classroom, I can see the big cursor here, trouble, and then when you go to your Google Meet, geez, a bit of inception going on there, you can see here, that's the big cursor. So this one on the right is my cursor, and then the one sort of inside that sort of cascading window there, this one is what the students are going to see. If you choose a window or a tab, it won't work. The students won't see your big cursor. Sometimes you don't want to share the entire screen because there might be things on your screen that you don't want the students to see. But Marcus, I hear you cry, I want the big cursor when I'm presenting a tab. Yeah, that's right, I got you sorted. So what you'll need to do is, I'm going to first of all put my cursor back to the correct size. So come back to accessibility and display and cursor, and we'll drop him back down. There we go. All right, so to get your cursor seen when you're presenting a tab or when you're presenting a window, to get that different cursor seen on the student's end in the Google Meet, one way you can do that is to add an extension. Now, I've used one called Custom Cursor. All right, there's a few others out there with varying degrees of success. This is the one, after the few that I tried, that seems to work pretty well. So what I would need to do is come to Custom Cursor. I'm going to turn that on, and they give you a bunch of presets. You can manage your cursors, and you've got different collections of cursors depending on what you want. But for now, I'll just switch it just to show you how it all works. I'll switch to this red one here. Okay, and then when you come across and click on your page, you can see that my cursor is now gone red. So back in Google Meet, when I select a tab, and we'll go with the well-being and share. So we can see that I've got the red cursor here, and then just to switch over to what the students are going to see. Okay, so this is so you can see here that the students now see this red cursor, which helps make it stand out just a little bit more. You just got to make sure you keep your cursor inside the window. The minute you move outside the window, it's not going to be that custom cursor anymore. When you're done using the custom cursor, you just come back up to your custom cursor extension and turn it off. There you go, we're back to our regular cursor. Now, the custom cursor extension comes with a library or libraries of lots of different custom cursors that you can use. So if it fits particular themes, for example. Sometimes though, you'll want to create a custom one yourself, one that you've designed to fit a particular purpose. And that is entirely possible. And then you can add that to the library in custom cursor. I'm going to show you how you can do that using Google Drawings. You'll need to start by loading up Google Drawings by coming to drawings.google.com. And that loads up this editor. First thing you'll need to do is to change the size of your canvas, because there is a maximum size that you can have for your cursor. Come to File, and down to page setup. Change it from this preset and go to custom. Change the units to pixels, and the dimensions you want are 128 by 128 pixels. And then go ahead and apply that. And so you'll see now it's taken on this square shape. I'm just going to make a standard arrow. I can use the drawing tools for that. So I'll come up here to the shapes tools, click on that and choose arrows. I'll go with an up arrow for now. And we'll draw that in. We'll try and take up as much of the canvas as we can to maximize our size. Now I can format that by coming up here to format options. And I can rotate that. So it's a good idea if you rotate it so that it points sort of up in your corner like this. All right, so something like that. So we're going to maximize our canvas, and then we're going to drag this end back down here. Now it's going to leave it a little bit short, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size of my border, make it really stand out, and I'll change the inside color to something bright like red. So there's the first of my arrows, and then you can play around with the shape of your arrow to suit yourself. So you've got this little orange modifier handle here, so you can grab that and change the way your arrow looks. Might just need to drag this one back inside the canvas so we don't chop his head off. Okay, everything's sitting inside the canvas. Awesome. So my arrow is ready. So I now need to export that or download it. I'm going to go to File, and we're going to download a copy. We're going to download it as a PNG. Really important you do it as a PNG, so that way you get this transparent background. If you download it as a JPEG, it's going to get a white background. Your cursor is going to look pretty stupid. So go PNG, and choose where you want to put it. So like everyone else, I put everything on the desktop. So we're going to go Save. There we go. And so that's my custom cursor created. To add your new cursor to your cursor library, you're going to come across and open up the extension, and you want to upload your cursor. Once you're on this screen, what you need to do is click the plus sign. That'll open up your search, and there's my custom cursor that I created, and we'll go open. And now that's been added to my library. So now, when I want to load up my cursor, I simply hit the extension again, and here it is in the library. And so I can click on that, and then when I click outside, there's my nice big cursor. Now the nice thing about this is you can also modify the size of your cursor. To modify the size, come up to the cursor, click on this first one here, and you can use this scale here to change the size of your cursor, as such. So there we go, I've changed the size of my cursor. So the last one I'll show you is pretty much for fun. It's where you can use a bitmoji of yourself to act as your cursor. So this assumes that you have a bitmoji ready to go. It could be via the Bitmoji extension in your Chrome browser, or you might have saved your Bitmoji somewhere in your Google Drive or on your laptop hard drive. I've got the Bitmoji extension, so I'm going to open that up. Here's all my Bitmojis. So I've got one here with a pointer. So I'm going to right click on that and copy it. And back over here in my Google Drawing, I'm going to right click and paste, or Control V, and then I'll need to modify this slightly, so I have got a bit of dead space there, so I'm going to crop that up just to like so. There we go, I've cropped it, and we'll take up as much of the canvas as we can. So it's a little bit off center. It's important that you get it in the center, otherwise your cursor is going to not quite work. It's not going to position quite the way you expect it to. So I can click and hold on my diagram in the middle there, and I can drag them across. And those red lines that appear, they tell you the orientation on the canvas. So that puts it in the center. And again, I go ahead and I download a copy of that as a PNG, put it back on my desktop, and save that. And then once again, in my custom cursor extension, I'm going to upload my cursor. So we'll hit the plus sign here, find my bitmoji cursor. There he is. I also have this one over here. Now, when I go to my library, there it is. And I've now got my bitmoji cursor that I can move around. Now, it'll only work inside certain web pages. It won't work in every web page. So you can see here, for example, it works up here, but it won't work down here because you've got drawing tools. So there are a few cases where the custom cursor won't work. And that, as they say, is that. That's how you can modify your cursor so that it's easier for students to see in a Google Meet presentation. As always, if you've got any dramas, hit me up and we'll get you sorted. I'm off for a pot and a palmy. And if you don't know what those two things are, look it up.